So, hello everyone. So, this is class 10th. So, we will wait for some 5 minutes. After that, we will start the class. Okay. Uh, Hi everyone. So this is week 10th class. So in this class, we are going to discuss the assignment number 10th. We will discuss some of the questions including in assignment 10th. So I am requesting you all to go through the assignments. Even I will request you to go through all the assignments, and because these like questions will be helpful for your exam purpose, your practicing purpose, and also for the competitive exams. And you go through the videos also. I will upload all the videos and assignments in the link, so you go through all. And if you are having any doubt, you come up with your doubts. And also I'm requesting, I from last weeks, from last too many weeks, I'm not seeing anyone to join the class. So this is an interactive class, so I request you all to join this class so that we can go on one session, so that we can interact, we can discuss the doubts, and we can discuss more about the course. It will be helpful for your exams also, and also for your competitive papers. So for today we will start the class. So I am going to share my screen, in which I will share the assignment number 10. One by one we will solve the questions, and I will upload the video as well as slides into the link, so you go through the slides and the videos. So okay, I am going to share my screen. Okay. Okay, so 1 minute. Yeah. So moving to the first question. 1 minute. So before moving to the first question, I will tell you about something about the electromagnetic spectrum. So electromagnetic spectrum involves various kind of the waves. Like first is the radio waves, microwaves, IR, visible, UV, X rays, and gamma rays, and cosmic rays. So basically, one, two, three. four, five, six, seven types of rays, seven types of rays will form the electromagnetic spectrum. So these seven type of rays will form the full electromagnetic spectrum, and these rays are having different wavelength and energies. So if you will see, from going from radio waves to the cosmic rays, energy is increasing, and energy is equal to h nu. So ongoing energy is directly proportional to nu. So this is E is energy. Energy is equal to h nu. H is the Planck's constant. Nu is the frequency. So from here, h is a constant. So E is directly proportional to nu. So as energy is increasing, nu is also increasing. Nu is frequency. So on going from radio waves to the cosmic rays, energy is increasing and also the frequency is also increasing. But if we will come from cosmic rays to the radio waves, like in this direction, wavelength like lambda is increasing. Lambda is increasing. So lambda is increasing. So because if you will see the formula, C is equal to nu into lambda. Nu is equal to C by lambda. C is a constant. So nu is inversely proportional to 1 by lambda. So if nu is increasing, lambda is decreasing. So these two relation you have to keep in the mind. So if radio waves are having higher wavelength, whereas cosmic rays or gamma rays are having high energy. So on going from um, right to left, energy is increasing, as energy as well as frequency is increasing, whereas on going from the left to right, wavelength is increasing. So these things you should keep in the mind. So moving to the first questions, find the correct order of radiation in respect to their wavelength. So if you know, here there is X-ray, UV, visible and IR. So if you will see, X-ray, UV, visible and IR. IR is having higher wavelength than visible, than UV. It means X-ray is having less, IR, visible, UV. So first option. IR is having high, yes. After that, visible, yes. Then UV, yes. And then X-ray. So first option is the right option. You can see, and you can see this spectrum also. If you will keep this in the mind, then it will be easy for you to solve many questions. Okay, so moving to the next question. IR spectroscopy measure the transition of molecules. Like first option is electronic, vibrational, and rotational. So again moving to the first slide. So if you will see rotation. So rotation is that the molecule is at its axis and it has to rotate on its own axis. It will not require that much energy. So rotational transitions will be done in the presence of microwave radiation. So microwave radiations, it means it doesn't require much energy. So the less energy radiations are sufficient to carry out these transitions. Whereas in the case of vibration, as bond has to undergo vibrations along its axis, so it requires some more energy for compressing and stretching the bond. So the um, infrared radiations are required to do such kind of vibrations. And on the other case, UV visible, as these are high energy radiations, and electronic excitation. If there is an electronic excitation, there is a removal of electron from a bond. So to remove an electron from a bond, it requires a lot of energy. For that, UV visible ultraviolet radiations are required. So it means that rotational transitions are done by microwave radiation. Infrared radiations are required to carry out the vibration, whereas UV visible radiations are required to do the electronic transitions. So now moving to the question. So IR spectroscopy measured the transition of the molecules, but electronic, vibrational, or rotational. So you have to tell me. If you will see, electronic transitions will be carried out by UV visible. UV visible. Vibrational is IR and rotational is microwave radiations. Okay, so IR spectroscopy measure the transition of molecules, vibrational transitions. What transition? Vibrational transition. So you can see the question also and you can see the slide also again. Okay, so moving to the yeah, here also you can see different type of radiation are used for different type of transition. Microwave radiation, molecular rotational transition, infrared vibrational transitions, UV visible electronic transition. Okay, so moving to the third question. So, what is the result of interstate conversion in electronic state of molecules? It's interstate, not intrastate. So, what is the result of interstate conversion in electronic state of electronic transition of molecules? I think you will be able to answer this question if you know the Jablonski diagram. First, take some 2 minutes, then I will explain that Jablonski diagram. After after learning Jablonski diagram, you will be able to answer this question. I will just see if it is, yeah. Okay, so Jablonski diagram is this one. So first what happen is there is an absorption of energy. So whenever there is an absorption of energy, the electron will, this is an electron. So when there is an absorption of energy, the electron will go from the ground state to the excited state, like S0 to S1. So this is the electronic transition. So you all know, so that in between the electronic transition there are vibrational levels. So whenever it goes from singlet excited state, the electron, as we all know, electron can't stay more in the excited state. So everybody wants to stabilize, so it will lose energy and come to the stabilized state. So when it uh, come to this level, so there is a vibrational relaxation. The electron will come to the lower vibrational level of the excited state. So from here now electron has two possibility: either it can come to the state from where it got excited, that is intrastate, and other ways it can go to the triplet state. So it is known as intrastate, like within, and it is within the singlet excited state. But if it goes from the singlet to triplet excited state, it is known as inter electronic transition or intersystem crossing. So this is internal conversion, and this is intersystem crossing. So when the electron will come from the singlet excited state to the singlet ground state, it is known as internal conversion, or we can call it as fluorescence. So this is fluorescence phenomena. And when the electron will come from the excited state, singlet excited state to the triplet excited state, it is the intersystem crossing, and we will call it as phosphorescence. Sorry, here this phenomena is known as intersystem crossing. There is a intersystem from singlet to triplet, and when the electron will relax from triplet to the lowest singlet ground state, we will call this phenomena as the phosphorescence. So this is the phosphorescence. So what is the result of interstate conversion in electronics? So if you will say, interstate conversion will give the phosphorescence. So the fourth question is, due to its high affinity, PNA peptide nucleic acid form invasive complex with double-stranded DNA, such as also triple strand, double duplex, duplex invasion, and we could call it as all the three will strands will be formed by the uh, DNA. So we will call it as all of the above. And in reversed phase HPLC, the option A is a hydrophobic phase. Stationary phase is combined with the non-polar mobile phase. Second is a hydrophobic stationary phase is combined with the polar mobile phase. A hydrophobic stationary phase is combined with non-polar mobile phase, and a hydrophilic stationary phase is combined with the polar mobile phase. So first of all, you should know that what is HPLC. So HPLC is high performance. H is high, P is performance, performance. LC you all know, high performance liquid chromatography. So in HPLC commonly it is hydro um, hydrophilic stationary phase combined with the hydrophobic mobile phase. It means this is the common hydrophilic stationary phase combined with the non-polar mobile phase. But they are asking about reversed phase. So in reversed phase, what happen is there is a hydrophobic phase, stationary phase, which is combined with the polar mobile phase. So the question is, if HPLC is there, common HPLC, normal HPLC, then third option is the right option. In common HPLC, it is hydrophilic phase, hydrophilic stationary phase, which is combined with the non-polar mobile phase, and but this is a reverse HPLC. So there is a hydrophobic stationary phase, which is combined with the polar mobile phase. So moving to the next question, sixth one. So which of the following statement is correct? So fluorescence spectroscopy requires more amount of sample as compared to the UV visible spectroscopy. No. Fluorescence spectroscopy is a type of emission spectroscopy. This is true. Cyanic acid can be used as a matrix for proteins. This is also true. MALDI has high resolution. No. So the second and third option is the right option. So what is the backbone of PNA? PNA is a peptide nucleic acid. So these are nucleic acids. So peptides are the backbone of the. These are nucleic acids. So peptide is the backbone of the PNA. Yeah. So These were the questions of assignment number 10. So if you're feeling any doubt is there, or you want to discuss something, or you want me to tell again, you can go through this assignment. If some problem you are finding, you can ask me. And then we will discuss it in the next class. So we will discuss it in the next class. So I will upload these slides along with the video in the link. You can go through the assignments. So if you're feeling any doubt, you can ask me in the next class. So for now, I'm leaving this class. So okay, we will meet in the next class from Tuesday 6 to 8 p.m. Okay.